Hello everyone and welcome to my coloring corner. Today is Friday and I should have done this video yesterday. No excuses. I did not forget. I forgot what day it was. Yeah, so I missed it. I'm sorry. So we are going to do a skin tone in Faber Castell Polychromos today. This will be the last light skin tone that we do in this series. As you may remember, we did the Brute Funer squares and the Coloria. So I have those two finished, and the names and numbers and all that are available on those videos. I did go through and do the small charts as well. This one here will be the Faber Castells, and then we'll go a little bit darker, and then as we go down, going from a light skin tone to a medium skin tone to a tan skin tone to a medium skin tone to a dark skin tone. And we'll work through that fairly quickly. Now, I may not do all three on video for each color, so I may do a Brute Funer square medium, Coloria or tan, a Coloria medium, and a Faber Castell dark, or whichever way it goes through. I will tell you the colors that I use for each of them as we go. All right. And that way I'm not, spending 6 months doing skin tone videos. All right, so we have on our Polychromos, we have the first color that we're going to be using is Sanguine, which is number 188. What did I do with my pen? I lost my pen. There it is. Okay, so this is 188 is the first color. And this is a very basic skin tone. We're only going to be using 5 colors. So we have enough there to determine all the colors. Now, as you may know, if you have the Polychromos set, there isn't a lot of light colors in there. And, you would probably want to use some of the lighter colors. But the undercolor of certain colors like Sanguine, for example, do give a really good shadow skin tone color. I do prefer to use a violet for my shadows, but in the Polychromos, there isn't a lot of the light violet colors. So I would prefer something lighter than this one. And because there's not a lot of those light colors in the Polychromos, I don't use those purples when I'm doing skin tones in the Polychromos. If that makes sense at all. The Sanguine, if I can find it. Where'd it go? I just had it. I've lost Sanguine. Sorry, guys. 188. Where'd it go? There it is. The Sanguine has a bit of a brown as well as a red undertone. So it gives a lot of the different colors that we're going to be using in the skin tone. This is a very light layer of the Sanguine. And we're going to do a light layer. We're not going to go heavy in our shadow areas. We are going to extend this out, of course, with the other colors. So this is just our shadow color. And because our shadow runs across here, make sure that you put in the shadow around the ear. Now, this page doesn't have a lot of definition in the ear, so I'm not going to put it in, because I just don't draw. I'm just not good at it. If you are good at drawing, by all means, put the eyes and the definition in the ears if you want to. I cannot draw, so we're just focusing on the skin tone. We're not worried too much about the drawing itself at this point. So because her hair is coming out a little bit over her face, we're going to put a little bit more of a shadow on this side compared to that side. And then we've got under her chin and down the curve of her face a little bit. Same with this side. I'm going to go down the curve of her face a little bit. Not putting a whole lot down there because this is a fairly dark color and it will blend into the other color, giving us a better amount of the shadow. There's so many different ways that we can do skin tone, and of course every pencil set has different colors and gives us different abilities. We may do one or two of the fantasy skin tones as well. So we may do a light, medium, and dark, and then a fantasy. We will see how that goes. The Polychromos do wonderfully for those fantasy skin tones because they do have a lot of really great dark colors to work with. All right, so there we have our skin tone, our dark areas for the skin. The next color we're going to come in with is cinnamon. And again, we're going to go right over top of the sanguine, and we're just going to come out. Now, if you don't like the darkness of the sanguine, you can definitely just go with the cinnamon. And I didn't put the color down. So let's put the color down before I forget. So this is 189. And it's cinnamon. And as you can see, it's just a tapered down, toned down version of the sanguine. So if you don't like the darkness of the sanguine, you can definitely just go with the cinnamon. All right. Just going to blend that out and come out with our shadow a little bit further into the face. Now I'm using a light pressure on the side of my pencil so that I don't saturate with the darker color. Also so that I don't kill the tooth of the page. Polychromos do prefer a light layering process. They don't do well with the heavy-handedness. So if you are heavy-handed, this is not the set of pencils for you. Unless you, like I said, unless you start practicing on holding your pencil further back and lightening your hand a little bit. If you do choose to use the Polychromos and you are feeling that you are too heavy-handed, just put your pencil all the way, your hand all the way to the back of the pencil and use the side of the pencil. Make sure your pencil is sharp because the sharpness of the pencil will tell you if you're being too heavy-handed. If you're being extremely heavy-handed, that tip of the pencil will break. So if your pencil keeps on breaking on you, you know that you're putting too much pressure on the pencil. Lift your hand a little bit. Put less pressure on that tip of your pencil. You should be able to just use up the side of the pencil not break the tip off of it. And as you start feeling how much pressure you're putting on your pencil, you can also start moving your hand down the pencil. Once you figure out where you need to lift your hand, where you need to stop putting so much pressure on. All right. And I think that's it for the cinnamon. And like I said, we are going to be reapplying and layering these colors up. So this one here is number 132, which is light flesh in the old set. If you have a newer set of Polychromos, they did change the names of the flesh colors. So light flesh is not called light flesh anymore. It is called beige red. My Polychromos chart that is available on Ko-fi does have both of those names on the chart. So if you find that you have a newer set and want to know what people are talking about that are using an older set, when they say light flesh, it is beige red. But the numbers haven't changed, so as long as they're telling you what number it is, you should be able to find it. It took me a little while because, sometimes I don't read the numbers, I just read the names. It took me a little while while I was doing color alongs and following other people to realize that they had changed the names because I was being a little dense. All right, so this is our lightest color in the peach tones, the lighter tones, or the darker tones, I should say. So we're going to actually come out into the entirety of the face with this color. And then we're going to start adding our highlight colors. So we're going to start adding those colors that make it lighter. And then we're going to start layering up again. And as you can probably tell with the colors and the shortness of my pencils, these are the colors that I do use on my own things for skin tone. There are other colors I will add depending upon the project and depending upon where, things like light source and stuff like that is. Oh, I forgot to put in the shadow around her nose. So I'm going to go back to cinnamon because I don't want this to be an extremely dark shadow. Like up here, I'm going to go with cinnamon around her nose because it's just going to be a little bit of a shadow. Another thing that I do find with skin tones sometimes is when you're covering large areas, sometimes it does work really well to have a dull pencil. But like I said, if you're trying to learn your pressure levels, keeping that pencil sharper is better. Just let your one side get a little dull so that when you're layering, you're not putting lines into the paper. Again, I'm going in little circles, just filling in that space, blending those colors in together. I am going over top of the other colors and blending them out. and trust the process. You will find that there is a stage in your coloring, especially with skin tones, where it doesn't look right. So the best thing to do when that happens is to trust the process. Go through and make sure that you have all your colors added, and continue to add your colors until you are satisfied with it. Don't just stop halfway through going, okay, this doesn't look right, I don't like it. Because there is, in a lot of different aspects of coloring, a stage where it just doesn't look right. It has that ugly teenager stage where everything is gangly, it doesn't fit, and that sort of thing. And when you start finishing, getting to the point where you've added all your colors and you're starting to blend things together, it will just suddenly pop into place and everything will look perfect. So trust the process. Don't get discouraged by the stage where everything just doesn't look right. Don't look at somebody's finished product and say, okay, mine doesn't look like that. What is wrong with mine? Because their finished product has already gone through that stage. Just saying. So the next color that we're going to use is cream, which is number 102. Okay, my pen has decided that it doesn't want to work. Probably because that isn't where that belongs. 102. See, my pen's going, yeah, no, 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 no. And 102 is a nice cream color, a little bit of a light yellow. And we're going to start adding the cream in through here. So in the lighter areas, we're going to add that cream. Like so. Okay. So in the areas in her cheeks, on her nose, where that highlight's going to be, under her lip a little, on her chin. Now that's her lips, so we're going to leave those white for now. I'm going to add some lip color to her as well. And then down here as well. Now again, I'm going very light-handed. I'm not putting a lot of pressure down. I don't want that darker yellow to show through. I want that to be a lighter yellow. All right, now we're going to go back with our colors. We're going to layer those colors up. We're going to give another layer of the color. So we're going to come back through here with the sanguine. Now, if you find that your sanguine areas that you already colored are dark enough, you don't want those to be darker, skip the sanguine. You don't have to go back with every single color. I just want it a little bit darker down the edges of the shadow area, especially under her hair and under her chin. And down here as well. Now that the other colors that are on top of the sanguine that are going to be under this sanguine are going to change the color of the sanguine a little bit. So don't worry about it not looking the same color as it did on white, because it's not going to. And then we take our cinnamon. Again, we're just putting the next layer on. Coming out with the cinnamon. My watch is going to drive me crazy because it popped out of its thing. Hold a sec. There we go. Coming down the chin. Again, I'm using the cinnamon now. And I'm going to use all the colors again. I haven't used the white yet, and we will show you why in just a second here. The white is going to be our blending color. So it's going to take all these colors, tone them down just a little bit, and blend them all together, giving us that perfect finished skin tone. Well, I won't say perfect because, you know, nothing's perfect. It's a good skin tone though. I strive for progress, not perfection. So if you strive for perfection, then you will find that you are way too critical of your work because you're trying to make it perfect. If you strive for progress, you will find that you enjoy your work a lot more, because as you learn little things, even if it's just a slight little thing that you've learned, that you've added to your project, you will find that you are more satisfied and enjoy doing your project and getting that little bit more out of it. So don't strive for perfection, because perfection is just hard. It's an impossibility to reach all at once. So strive for that progress and keep on striving for progress. Don't stress yourself out too much with striving for perfection. Now I am using the light flesh, or the red, beige red. That's the other name for it. So if you have a newer set of Polychromos, it's beige red. If you have an older set of Polychromos, it is light flesh. And again, I'm going over the entire face with it. I'm not going over the lips, I'll add lip color. And I'm going to actually take my cinnamon and go under the lip as well, because I forgot to. You know, and you can definitely add details that you forgot in the first place. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't ruin the page. You can definitely add them after. Alright. And this is where I start disliking my page because I know it hasn't come all together yet. So I still have another color that needs to go on here, and then the white to blend it all together. but you will find that the layering process starts to look a little choppy at this point because you're getting more layers of lighter color over top of the darker color. It's starting to look a little bit more blotchy because of the white spot coming through, because the more white spot you have come through on a darker area, the worse it looks. Don't worry about it. It will change, I promise. Come back through here. If possible, try to go in the opposite direction that you went with the previous color. I always forget to do that part. I do tend to go all in one direction, so if you do remember to go in an opposite direction, and what that does is that does help you fill in the white spot left behind by the previous color, blending those colors together. And it also eliminates the need for pulling those colors into the white spots. All right, and now for our cream again. Just coming into those areas that I want a little bit more of a highlight. In her forehead, on her cheek, on her nose. And down here on her chest. Again, not putting a huge amount of pressure on that cream. Now, the next step is where your heavy-handedness is going to come in handy if you're heavy-handed. If you are not heavy-handed, the next step is one of those steps where you may find that your hands hurt a little bit because you are going to have to put a little bit more pressure on the pencil. All right, so we're going to do the lips first. So that was number 102 that we added. Now we're going to add our lips, and we're going to do a bit of a pink color. So we're going to use 132, 131, and 126. So dark flesh, medium flesh, so salmon, coral, and where is that one? I should know these all by heart by now, but I don't. And permanent red carmine. So those two, so 132, 131, and 126. Just gotta grab the right pencil here. And this is why you try to remember to turn your pencils in your bag so you can actually see the numbers. All right, so we're going to start with our darkest color. And I'm going to sharpen this. So this is 126. So we're going to do lip 126. So that's our starting color. And then we're going to do 131, which is a medium flesh. And then we're going to do dark flesh, which is number 130. Like so. And there's our color combination for our lips. All right, so we're going to start off with 131 just as our base. And I do not do well with drawing, so again, our lips are just going to be there. They're not going to be fantastic, but they are going to be there. And then we're going to go in with the dark flesh, which is number 130. I know she kind of looks like a clown at this point. And leave our highlight area open. And then we're going to go in with our permanent carmine. Again, I do not do well with drawing. I am quite sure you guys can probably do lips a lot better. I'm ashamed. I'm sorry. I'm just going to come up through here. Just going to blend that down a little. Blend that in. And I'm blending with the 131, or 130 I mean. The 130 is what we're blending with because that is a little bit of a lighter color than the red tone. And then we're going to come in with our lightest color and we're going to put in that highlight area. Like like so. And then we're going to take our white and we're going to giggle horrendously at this horrible drawing. And we're going to blend those colors together, lightening up that red, giving it more of a pinky, peachy tone, like that. Horrible, horrible, horrible drawing. Sorry, I apologize. That kind of embarrasses me, but that's the best I can do. All right, now we're going to take our white on our skin, and we're going to put a little bit of pressure on it. We're not putting a really heavy hand. We're not trying to break the pencil, but we are putting a little bit of pressure on it, moving that color around and smoothing it out. Now, if you do find that you have more white spot that you don't like is there, that's fine. We can come back through with the blender and we can blend that together. Putting the white on it also gives the blender something to blend into that color to calm it down. The white is both the blender as well as the calming color. So basically it's muting out any heavy color that we don't want to be extremely heavy, and dampening down some of the darker colors and brighter colors, making them all work together. Like so. I do find that I have a video for the 300 colors that I may need to redo, so I may have to do that at some point soon. I did take down the video, so if you are looking for the 300 colors review, I do have one. However, there's some sound issues on the video, so I have taken it down and I will have to replace that. I do like the 300 colors, so I will do my best to replace that. I had some sound issues with my old headset. It didn't like me. Actually, it was a settings problem, but we're not going to get into that. Somebody had set a setting that did not work for streaming or recording. Alright, so as you can see, it smoothed it out and it has given us a much softer look to the shadows as well as to the rest of the bright colors that we put in there. So the yellow and like the cream colors and the red colors, it's given us that polished look where it gives us the blended skin color and still leaves our highlights and our shadows intact, but blends all of them into one thing where it doesn't look so choppy. Now this picture itself is not, it has very thick lines, and I'm not fond of thick line drawing, but like I said, I didn't draw it because I cannot draw, and I will not disparage on somebody else's drawing that can actually draw. So this was a picture that was available on my editing program that I have a membership to. because I do have a membership to it. They have given me permissions to use it in my content. And in my templates. So, all right. And there we have it. Now there are a couple of small areas that I don't like the way it blended, or I think it needs to blend a little more, but I don't want to dampen it down a whole lot more. So I'm going to just take my blender and I'm just going to bring it in and pull those colors together a little bit more with the blender using a blender stick or a blender pencil, because it is a colorless blender, will give you the ability to move those colors together but not change the color. It will brighten the color a little bit. Well, the Caran d'Ache does. It brightens the color a bit because that's what the bright stick does. But it also moves those colors together, giving you a blend without adding new color. Okay, so there's the difference between using the blender over top of the white and just using the white. Both look perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with either one of them. The only difference is that you will find that with the blender you get a little bit smoother of a blend. With the white you will find that some of the colors will resist, and all it will do is lighten them down a little bit. It won't pull them together. So if you have a resisting color, just take your blender and just very gently, very lightly go over top of it until it blends to where you want it to be blended. If you have a lot of white spots still after putting the white on there, just take your blender and gently move your pigment into those white spots. Now if you look at your skin, you've got little white pores all over your skin anyway, so it does give skin tones a little bit of a natural look, but if you want your skin to be very smooth, you still can have very smooth skin on your page. I cannot have smooth skin on my face, so I prefer to have smooth skin on my page. So a lot of people do embrace the white spot on skin tones. I do on certain circumstances. You can definitely embrace the white spot if you enjoy that look. And in certain circumstances, I do find that having that white spot does enhance the picture. In certain circumstances, I find that it does not. So I pick and choose when I'm going to remain with the white spot and when I'm going to blend it out. And again, it's at this stage where you'll see your page start coming together, where you'll see your colors start blending and becoming what you want them to be. Do not discourage or decide you don't like your page or your colors or anything like that until you get to this point. If you use a fairly light hand with your blender, you will find that you can still add color. So if you find that you want to add a color and you've already blended, as long as you used a fairly light hand, you can still add that color. So there we have our colors for the Faber Castell skin tone. Polychromos. Okay, so it's 188 is your beginning color, which is sanguine. 189 which is cinnamon, 132, which is light skin or beige red, and then 102, which is cream, and the final color, of course, is 101, which is white. And of course, you're not going to see the white on here because it's white, but it's there. All right, so that is our final episode of adult coloring from the beginning in light skin tones. When we come back, we will move on to a darker skin tone. It's not going to be a deep, rich African skin tone or really, really dark skin tone. We are going to gradually move from this light tone to a much tanner tone and then into our dark tones. So we're going to go from here to more of a deep tan to the darker skin. So if you are coloring a lot of pictures with African people and African animals and stuff like that, you will want to watch the final videos of the skin tone videos because those will start getting into those deeper, richer African tones. All right, guys, so with that is the Faber Castell Polychromos. Of course, last week we did the Coloria, and then the week before that we did the Brute Funer squares. So as you can see, it does start getting lighter and lighter with each set of pencils. Every set of pencils has a different ability to color skin, a different coloring for skin. I did not do a cheek tone on the Polychromos where I did do on both of those, but you can do the cheeks basically any way you want to, either with the pinks for the cheeks or with the sanguine, moving that cheek color from the edges of the page. And as you can see, the reason why I don't draw lips, the reason why I should draw lips, yes, so we will be moving on to the next areas, which is, of course, a little bit deeper of a skin tone. So we've got light, medium, and darker in the light tones, and we're going to start going into those medium browns now. All right, guys, so that is the end of today's video. I do thank you all very much for watching. I hope this was helpful, especially if you use Polychromos. Again, the colors that I used are 188, 189, 132, 102, and then for the lips it was 126, 131, and 130, and of course the white, which is 101. I also used the Caran d'Ache Bright Stick to blend it smooth because I wanted the skin to be smooth. The Bright Stick is optional. If you don't have the Caran d'Ache, you can use whatever blender you find that you like the blendability of. I do like the Caran d'Ache blender stick as well as the Derwent blenders. I think both of those work really, really well. All right, guys, with that, thank you all very much for watching. Of course, stay tuned for the next episode of Adult Coloring from the Beginning, which I will do on time next week. I promise. All right, guys. I will see you again on Saturday for a Saturday color and chat at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Until then, always remember to like, comment, and subscribe to any YouTube artist that you enjoy. And always, always remember to relax, color, and stay safe, everyone. Until next time, bye-bye for now.